What if one idiot in a straw hat could end 800 years of prophecy with a single punch? In a world of endless seas and impossible dreams, there exists a truth more powerful than any weapon, more valuable than any treasure: freedom. But freedom is never simply given. It must be fought for, bled for, believed in when all hope seems lost. These are the 5 greatest liberations in One Piece history, and the final one will break you. Let's go across the Grand Line into the heart of revolution itself. This is when Luffy made entire nations cry from happiness. Alabasta, a desert kingdom of ancient beauty and proud traditions. For 3 long years, it had been tearing itself apart in civil war. Brother fought against brother. Citizens who once loved their king now marched to overthrow him. But the people of Alabasta didn't know the truth. They were puppets, dancing on strings pulled by a warlord named Crocodile, a man who orchestrated the entire conflict from the shadows, who weaponized their drought and turned their desperation into hatred. Princess Vivi knew the truth. For years, she had infiltrated the enemy's ranks, desperately gathering evidence, watching her kingdom bleed. She was just one young woman against an empire of deception. She had no army, no power, only determination, and one desperate hope: the Straw Hat Pirates. When Luffy promised to help her, he didn't ask for anything in return. He didn't need to understand the politics or the history. His friend was crying. Her people were suffering. That was all he needed to know. Deep beneath the desert sand, in an ancient burial chamber, Luffy faced Crocodile. Again and again he fell. Again and again, the desert warlord mocked him. What can one foolish boy do against someone who controls an entire kingdom? But Luffy had an answer. With fists that carried the hope of an entire nation, he struck back. Not for glory, not for treasure, but because no one has the right to steal a country's future. When Crocodile finally fell, something miraculous happened. After 3 years of drought, it began to rain. Water fell from the heavens like tears of joy. In the capital city, citizens looked up at the sky, feeling rain on their faces for the first time in so long. The lies washed away. The conspiracy crumbled. And when Princess Vivi stood before her people, voice breaking with emotion, she didn't need to explain. They understood. Their princess had never betrayed them. She had been fighting for them all along. Alabasta was free. Wait until this same boy in a straw hat looks the entire world in the eye and declares war for a single crewmate who's ready to die. But not all chains are visible. Some prisons exist in the mind, in the belief that you deserve to suffer. Nico Robin had lived her entire life as a fugitive. At 8 years old, her home was destroyed by the world government. They labeled her a demon, put a bounty on a child's head. For 20 years, she ran, trusting no one, believing she was cursed, that everyone who showed her kindness would eventually be destroyed because of her. When the world government finally captured her, Robin didn't fight back. She accepted it. On the bridge of hesitation at Enies lobby, the judicial island, she prepared to die. She thought it was for the best. Better to disappear than to bring more suffering to people she had come to love. But Luffy wouldn't accept that. When she told them to let her go, that she wanted to die, he screamed back at her, "Say you want to live! Robin, say it!" And in that moment, something inside her broke. All the years of running, all the loneliness, all the fear, it poured out in one desperate cry. "I want to live! Take me out to sea with you!" What Luffy did next shocked the world. He turned to his sniper, Usopp, and gave an order that would echo through history. Shoot down that flag. The world government's flag, the symbol of absolute authority, the banner that represented the entire world's justice system. Luffy declared war on the world itself, for one woman, for one friend, because that's what it meant to be in his crew. The battle that followed was legendary. Each Straw Hat pushed beyond every limit. They fought not just soldiers, but the very system that had persecuted Robin since childhood. CP9, the government's most elite assassins, stood in their way. But nothing could stop a crew fighting for their family. When Luffy finally defeated Rob Lucci in a battle that pushed both of them to the brink of death, he carried his unconscious crew to safety with his last ounce of strength. It was a promise kept, a declaration made real. As Enies' lobby burned behind them, he burned a world government flag and walked away with Robin alive. The world would never forgive him, but 10,000 meters under the sea, an entire race was waiting to test whether a human could ever be trusted again. 10,000 meters below the sea, beneath the surface world where sunlight cannot reach, lies Fishman Island, a kingdom of breathtaking beauty and heartbreaking pain. For 200 years, fishmen and merfolk had been hunted by humans, enslaved, sold like property, killed for sport. Queen Otohime, a gentle soul, had preached peace and forgiveness, believing that one day humans and fishmen could live together. But her voice was drowned by generations of suffering, by mothers who had lost children, by fathers who had been branded like cattle, by endless inherited hatred. And then came Hody Jones, a fishman who had never personally been harmed by humans, yet who wanted to exterminate them all. He represented something terrifying, hatred without memory, rage passed down like a disease, infecting even those it never touched. Hody's plan was to overthrow King Neptune, execute his family, and lead Fishman Island into eternal war. He was hatred incarnate, proving that prejudice can poison hearts even without direct cause. When Luffy arrived, he didn't care about the complicated history. He didn't give speeches about peace or understanding. He simply saw his friend, Princess Shirahoshi, the gentlest soul he'd ever met, imprisoned in fear, and he decided, this ends now. The battle in the plaza wasn't about changing minds. It was about protecting the future. When Luffy's fist connected with Hody Jones, sending the terrorists crashing through the plaza, he declared something that would change everything. This island is under my protection now. He punched hatred itself into the ground and claimed an underwater kingdom. Child's play. Now picture a country where people smile and dance every day, because if they ever stop smiling, they remember their own children were turned into toys and forgotten forever. From beneath the sea, we rise to DRESSROSA, a kingdom of passion, dance, and eternal celebration. A paradise where everyone seemed happy, where music filled the streets, where colorful toys entertained laughing children. But paradise was a lie. For 10 years, the warlord Doflamingo had ruled through the most insidious form of tyranny ever created. His accomplice, a little girl named Sugar, who never aged, possessed a terrifying power. With a single touch, she could turn any person into a toy and erase them from all memory. Think about that. Your husband transformed into a toy soldier, and you forget he ever existed. Your daughter turned into a doll, and her bedroom becomes just an empty room you never think about. An entire population living as slaves, maintaining the illusion of paradise, unable to speak, unable to cry out, unable to be remembered. thousands of people. Fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, warriors who had opposed Doflamingo. All of them forgotten, erased, as if they had never existed. The Straw Hats discovered this nightmare, and they knew. To free DRESSROSA, they had to make Sugar lose consciousness for just one moment, one single moment, to break her concentration. The task fell to Usopp, the crew's sniper, a man who admits he's a coward, who trembles in the face of danger, across an impossible distance, with his hands shaking, his heart pounding, facing the executioner's blade met for him. Usopp took the shot. And he made it. Across DRESSROSA, in every street, every house, every corner of the kingdom, toys began to sparkle and transform. Wooden soldiers became fathers, porcelain dolls became daughters, and with their transformation came the flood of memories. Imagine it. You're walking down the street and suddenly you remember you have a brother. You've always had a brother. Where's he been? Why did you forget him? The scene that followed was chaos and joy intertwined. People ran screaming through the streets, not in fear, but in desperate recognition. Families collided into each other's arms. Wives touched husbands' faces in disbelief. Parents held children they didn't remember losing, tears streaming down their faces. And the truth of Doflamingo's reign was finally exposed. The illusion of paradise shattered. An entire nation remembered their families in a single heartbeat. Doflamingo's strings were cut, but the longest night in One Piece history was still waiting. 20 years of poison, slavery, and a prophecy everyone had stopped believing in. Until a boy in a straw hat promised the little girl she could eat until she was full. But of all the liberations, none was longer awaited, none was more desperately needed than the freedom of Wano country. For 20 years, 20 long years, this nation of proud samurai had lived under the iron fist of Kaido, the strongest creature alive, and the treacherous Orochi. Samurai traditions were outlawed. Food was poisoned. The rivers ran toxic. Children worked themselves to death in weapons factories, breathing air that would kill them before they reached adulthood. The people prayed for a prophecy, that the 9 red scabbards would return, that the Kozuki clan would rise again, that dawn would finally come. But as the years passed, hope became almost too painful to hold on to. Luffy arrived in Wano and saw a little girl named Tama, bright-eyed and smiling despite drinking polluted water and eating rotten rice. He saw Yasuya, an old man who sacrificed himself with laughter to give the rebellion one more chance. He felt the weight of 2 decades of accumulated sorrow, of dreams deferred, of generations who had forgotten what freedom tasted like. And he made a promise. I'm going to make this a country where my friends can eat as much as they want. The raid on Onigashima was the longest and bloodiest battle in history. Against Kaido, against Big Mom, against 2 emperors of the sea and their armies. The alliance fought through the night. Samurai who had waited 20 years finally drew their swords. Minks who had lost their homeland transformed under the moonlight. The Straw Hats pushed past every conceivable limit. He became Joy Boy, the warrior of liberation itself. He died, came back, awakened a godlike power that hadn't been seen in 800 years. And now the final punch is flying. If this one lands, an entire country will see the sun for the first time in 20 years. Hold your breath. Here comes the dawn. 5 nations, 5 broken chains. Luffy never saved them alone. He just reminded them they were never powerless. The dawn always comes. Which liberation broke you the hardest? Tell me below.